Well, hi everybody. My name is Joe Vincent, and I'd like to welcome you to another edition of ATSU's Lunch and Learn, sponsored by the Information Technology and Services Department. You'll notice that I am not Brian Krusniak, and I am as sorry about that as you are. So I'm going to have to apologize, and you're going to have to hang with me because I'm both less attractive and less eloquent than Brian. But we're going to try to make do because we have a great episode of the Lunch and Learn for you today. Coming up, we've got iOS tips with Danny Fladhammer, now my new favorite last name ever in the universe, and I wish I had it. We've also got some most asked help desk questions and ways to keep up with university events, because there's a lot of them. And also in the studio and on the screen today, we have a couple of people who are here to discuss with us the University Staff Council. So right here sitting next to me is Lee Bonnell. She's the academic coordinator from the College of Graduate Health Studies on the Missouri campus. And we've also got, via Google Hangout, Michael Estes in the Arizona campus, and he's the director of student affairs. Now, Lee and Michael are here this morning to talk to us about the University Staff Council, right? And so just to begin, I guess, because maybe some people are aware of its existence, but maybe a lot of people haven't gotten beyond being aware that there's something called a staff council. So between the two of you, Michael and Lee, why don't you first just give us a little bit of description. What is the staff council?
Okay. Back in November of 2011, the University Staff Council, as it is today, came about as an initiative to help universitize, to bridge the gap between the two campuses, that we have staff on both campuses, similar issues and different issues for both campuses, and to work together as a team and to address the issues across the campus, to host activities, promote some community service and those types of things.
Very good. And Michael, so you are the, what is it? What's the title even? It's like the vice president or the co-president or?
Chair and vice chair.
Co-chair and chair. Okay, my apologies. So Lee would be the chair, Michael would be the co-chair. Michael, why don't you tell us a little bit about how the staff council interacts with administration or helps formulate policy, or what are your contributions to the university?
Yeah, well, what we do is we meet on a monthly basis on each of our respective campuses. Lee heads up the initiative there in Missouri and I here in Arizona. And we meet monthly to kind of talk about the issues and initiatives of each of our respective areas. And we come together in that regard. We are sponsored in a way by Human Resources, so they serve as our conduit to upper administration when there's an issue that might need to be brought to their attention. It really is, to echo what Lee said, more of a sense of community. It's a community builder between not only our respective departments, campus-specific, but also between Missouri and Arizona.
Cool. So Lee, you're the chair of the University Staff Council. And so I'm curious, how does one, I guess first, how did you end up on the council to begin with? And then maybe Michael, you can speak to how one ends up being a chairperson of the council, and what sort of led you to a place where you wanted to take on that responsibility.
So the initial appointments to the staff council came when the inaugural meeting came from, we have representatives under each vice president and also the deans of each school. So initially they were reached out to and asked to submit an employee that they would like to see represent their area on the staff council. And so that's how the initial setup began. And then from there, someone might come on as another person phases out, either because they've expressed an interest in being on staff council, or that representative that's going off has reached out and said, would there be anybody interested in replacing me? If we've had places where we've had someone, leave the university and they were on staff council, then we might reach back out to the VP or the dean to ask them for a suggestion. So it can come about from a few different ways. Gotcha.
And Michael, so from going from being appointed to taking on like a chairmanship, how did that process happen for you, and what made you feel like it was worth investing your time in that responsibility?
Yeah. It kind of happened organically, and I think Lee would agree with this. Being the chair, our structure is very flat, so not one department is over the other in terms of representation. My role as chair here, particularly on the Arizona campus, is mainly in the logistical side of things, figuring out when we'll have meetings, setting the agenda, where we will actually meet physically on campus. So that happens more organically. Now, for the university-wide council, which combines both the staff council from Arizona and Missouri, that also too happens organically in that there's general consensus amongst the group who we decide to be a leader. It's a very democratic process, and so this year Lee's representing not only her council from Missouri, but also leads us as a collective group. But again, it's a very flat structure. We all have equal voice when it comes to the council. I would say the chair and co-chair really comes into more of the logistics. I know Lee does sit on some committees, university-wide committees, so that is an added responsibility. But in terms of council work and representation, we are all very equal.
Very good.
And to speak to what he said as far as being on some additional university committees, to let staff know that they do have a voice at the table in things such as the university strategic planning, the benefits committee, the policy council, the council on diversity. And so those are some of the committees that the chair of the University Staff Council has been appointed to.
So those are committees that you actually weigh in on and sort of represent the staff.
Correct.
When you sit on those kinds. Well, that's cool. It does lead me into, I guess, a bunch of other questions regarding what sort of landmark achievements we can point to as the council having been a part of. And what you've got coming up. And I want to do that, but before we do, let's go ahead and roll into our first break. Have you ever wondered where live events like this one or other ones that are broadcast on live go after the live event is done? Well, if you have, then thank goodness for Corey Sanford, because he's going to tell you right now where you can find all of those events that you may have missed right now.
Where can you find live streaming events? Where do they go after they're completed? For all live ATSU events, we are now using a service called Livestream. Simply visit live.atsu.edu and you will land on our university Livestream page. Now here's our Livestream page. Here you'll find previously recorded live events in addition to any currently live streaming events. If there is a current live event, you will see a red box with a Live Now button around the icon. Just click on that video and watch the current live streaming program. You can participate in a live chat room during the event by signing up for a free live stream account and then signing in. You can watch any live streaming event without signing up for the free live stream account, but you must sign in to your live stream account to participate in the chat room section. After the live event is completed, it resides here in our live stream page. And we also frequently upload a copy of the video to our university YouTube channel. You can visit ATSU YouTube channel by typing youtube.com/ATStillUniversity in your browser's address bar. Here you can watch a large variety of events, graduations, white coats, and other previously recorded video events from both the Mesa and Kirksville campuses. If you're signed into your university Gmail account, you can subscribe by clicking the subscribe button to the YouTube channel, and there you'll get reminders when new events are posted to this page. So remember these two addresses, live.atsu.edu for all live streaming events and youtube.com/ATStillUniversity for all pre-recorded video events. Happy video watching.
See there? Easy, right? So you ate, you heard from some great people, and you also learned some stuff. This has got to be like the ultimate triple whammy for informative webinar type events, right? Right. Okay. So when we went to that break, I was thinking of all sorts of wonderful questions to ask you, and so we've got some more time, and we're going to do that. Again, we're with Lee Bonnell and Michael Estes. They are joining us today to talk about the University Staff Council. And so if you just jumped into the middle of this deal, what we've talked about so far is how there are a bunch of people, they're among us, but I don't want to make you nervous, and they actually represent the staff in a group that actually gets to advocate for staff type issues to the administration at ATSU. And it sounds like you actually have a pretty significant voice when it comes to having an impact on policy, especially as it starts to relate to how the staff interact with the university and how the university deals with the staff and so on. And so that's the first thing I wanted to ask you was, what can you point back to, or what do you guys sort of reflect on and look at as the big achievements? Like, wow, I can't believe we got that done, or if there hadn't been a staff council, this probably wouldn't have happened. And this is weird because I feel like I want to ask you both. So Lee, if you just want to pick one, and then maybe we'll see what Michael's greatest best idea is, and then we'll just go from there. Cool?
I think probably the thing that will resonate the most with the staff to know that a voice was heard was that amongst the staff council we brought forward some comments, suggestions about hourly and salary, the difference in vacation and medical time, and brought that to the benefits committee, and then that obviously went on to administration. And from those suggestions and concerns, it changed from an hourly person having to wait 5 years to start accruing that third week of vacation to now it's after 3 years that they start accruing that third week. So shortening that time frame from that for that accrual to start increasing.
Yeah, and that's a big deal. I imagine that affected a lot of people. Michael, what do you feel like is one of the staff council achievements that you're most proud of?
Yeah, I like that Lee gave that example. That's on a policy university level. I think something that both of our respective councils have done really great at, particularly this past calendar year, was outreaching to the community. I know in Missouri they did a lot of work and outreach with local school districts and schools, and here in Arizona we did as well. In Arizona, what has worked particularly well is when our students have had an initiative, be it a collection drive, or a benefit event, our staff has really kind of jumped behind them and more power within unity within the student body. And so we've done that a lot this past academic year, and I know that we hope to do that more in the future. So Lee's example is a policy changes that the University Staff Council has done, but I also think the impact we have to our local communities has been pretty powerful this past year.
Absolutely. So what you guys are sort of talking about is a difference that you're making internally that will affects a lot of our workforce directly, and also sort of representing the university outside in the community, which we know is a huge value, both inside the university and for us as an institution, as a community partner, representing the staff and the university that way. That's cool. This year is wrapping up, and you're starting a new year. And I understand there's going to be a little bit of changeover this year. Would you just sort of walk us through what's going to happen when you guys meet again in 2015?
Well, we kind of had our annual meeting in October that matched up. The Missouri Staff Council went to Arizona. And so we kind of set out some plans for the coming year, but we do have a lot of change. We have a few that'll change out on the Missouri campus and several Staff Council members that are going off and will be replaced on the Arizona campus. So we may have some shift to what is done a little bit, but in general, we're really working to improve the communication in this next coming year that comes out from the University Staff Council. And we're going to have a lot of changes to our University Staff Council page on the portal. So those are just some of the communication issues. On the Missouri campus, we want to continue that community service by continuing to host, again this year, trying to make a few of the things we do an annual thing. The school supply drive that we do, we're going to do that again shortly after the holiday break. We'll go back into that. And we're trying to supply one of the out around Kirksville, not directly in Kirksville, kind of that reaching out to the smaller communities restocking the classrooms to help them finish out their year. So you'll be receiving information about that. And we had a great turnout with the Food for Kids. We sponsored a week this past summer, and we are planning to do that again this summer, possibly even 2 weeks, because we had a great turnout and people were really excited to continue to do it. And like say in Arizona, they have a lot of change going on, so they're kind of make their plans once they have a full staff back on.
Great, and I know that there are a couple of things that are happening like right now. If I was watching this, I would be thinking two things. Hey, all of the stuff that you just said gives me a great idea for something that we should think about doing, or a great idea for a policy change that we should consider. And so I think probably one of the questions that people watching are going to ask a bit right away is, how do I actually funnel those ideas up to someone on the staff council? And I think that's going to lead into maybe there's not an awareness that I actually have a person and you actually have a person that represents you because of which department you're in or which school you're on. There's actually a representative for you that you could communicate with when those ideas come up. So, but first let's do this. Michael, who is going to be the representatives from the Arizona campus next year? I think they're changing. And so do you know who the reps for next year are going to be?
We do not. For instance, I will be filtering off in January 1st, so my term will be done. And so we are waiting naturally to make any leadership decisions until that new team is in place. Over half of the representatives on the Arizona campus will be turning over during this December-January month, so we won't have a point person until January.
Okay, and in the meantime, I imagine if somebody wanted to send something up the chain, they could do that with their current representatives. Is that right? Would you mind running down that roster, just who represents the council now?
Not a problem. Colleen Culverhouse represents the Arizona School of Dentistry and Oral Health. Jim Luganbuhl represents Arizona Operations. Karen Scott with Communications and Marketing. Linda Wheelis with the Arizona School of Health Sciences. Michael Chang with Alumni Relations and Development. Tom Hotved with ITS, Grants and Research. Verna Ann Burkett with the School of Osteopathic Medicine in Arizona. And I represent Student Affairs.
Excellent. And so, Leah, I imagine there's a equal group on the Missouri campus. Why don't you run down those real quick for us?
We have Julie Truitt, who represents the Student Affairs on the Missouri campus, Tabitha Sawyer, who represents KCOM, and Lynn Daniels, who is in sponsored programs, Katie Thudium in Communications and Marketing, Ronnie Hayes in Facilities, Kelsey Williams is in the President's Office, Laura Wallace is over at the Missouri School of Dentistry and Oral Health, myself at the College of Graduate Health Studies, and Harvey Summers is a member of our council as well.
Great. So I'm watching, right? And I just heard who represents my department. Now, so my next question is, how do I contact those people if I do want to submit suggestions, or I have questions, or I need some guidance, or so on? What's the best way to get in touch with those people?
You can email them individually, either the person who does represent your area, or if there's just one of those people that you're comfortable reaching out to, that's perfectly fine as well. We do have a general email address, universitystaffcouncil@atsu.edu, that can be used. Also on our page on the portal, there's a place for submission where people can submit their comments and suggestions there.
Great. And so I assume there's a place somewhere where I can actually go and figure out who my representative is. Is that on that portal page as well?
Correct. That
Very
lists
good.
the representatives and the areas they represent.
Cool. Very good. So I imagine if you're watching on live stream, it may be that it's occurred to you that you had a question you'd like to ask. And as you may know, right there next to the live stream window, there's a little chat bar where you can type in questions and submit those. And we're actually monitoring that now. So if you want to submit questions to Lee or Michael or me things like, "Hey Joe, where do you get your snappy ties?" We'll do our best to answer those in the next few minutes. And while we're waiting for those questions to come in, just give us sort of an overview of the annual events that you've got going on that you're trying to make annual. You kind of covered those. Are there any other initiatives or policy adjustments or things that you guys are looking at as a council moving forward?
We always want to do our best to make sure it is a great working environment for everyone, and that comes about through us addressing concerns that people bring forward. We definitely want to encourage community service and staff building events. Those are some of the things that we look at doing each year. And so just continuing those things, and we're really here to be the voice for our staff. So if they have things that they want voiced, bring it forward and we'll see about addressing it.
Very good. Michael, anything to add to that little segment there?
I would say to the Arizona folks watching that haven't seen or really heard of Staff Council, you'll all see us very soon at the holiday party. We assist Tanya and Becky here with HR on the Arizona side with the holiday party. So we always do that every year, and it's a lot of fun and really a good culmination to a year's work on the council.
Very good. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys stick around for a minute. We've got some other things that we'd like to send your way in this edition of the Lunch and Learn. The next one is equipment checkout. Now that sounds about as fun as watching paint dry, but hang on, because if you want a story with a happy ending, here's one for you right now.
Once upon a time, there was a student who needed to borrow an easel, a projector, and an OMT table. But he didn't know where to go. A wise person directed him to go to the library. Stop at the front desk, show your ID, and check out the easel, check out the projector, and even the OMT table. And the wise person also told the student that students aren't the only ones who can check out the equipment. Faculty and staff can too. Remember, books aren't the only things you can find at the library. And they all lived happily ever after. The end.
See there? Wasn't that heartwarming? That, and I'm going to pick up an OMT table and take it to my office after this just because I can. I think that's going to be awesome. You're excited about that?
Yep.
I am too. Good. Well, okay. Hey, this is the part of our day where we're going to stop for the break to educate. It's actually so cool. It has its own acronym, B2E. And in this segment, we're going to talk about the help desk's most often asked questions. And so let's roll that segment now.
Hello from the Help Desk. Have you ever wondered what the Help Desk's most frequently asked questions were? Well, okay, probably not, but we thought you might want to know anyway. Grab a pen and paper and number it from 1 to 6. Now, try to guess what they are. I'll wait. Okay, let's see how you did. The first question: why do I have to log in and go through the portal to get to my email? The answer is you don't. Simply open a web browser and enter mail.atsu.edu. You will be presented with the portal login page. Just enter your account information and voila, you have bypassed the portal and you are in your email. This should save you a couple of steps in your busy day. The second question is, how do I change my password? It's really simple. Watch as I show you. First, log into the ATSU portal. From the main menu, click on Resources. Choose Account Management and select Change Password. It might take just a second. Then another window will open and ask you to change your password. You'll put in your old password, your new password, and then confirm that new password. Congratulations, you're done. You've just changed your password. The third question. What's wrong? I can't log in since I changed my password. Well, sometimes when you change your password, things get stuck. It takes a while to populate across the network, and sometimes it's simply user error. So if you are experiencing these issues, give us a call at extension 2200 and we'll get you going again. Fourth question. How do I connect my mobile device to the network? Let's start with the Android devices, phones and tablets. First select Menu, then Settings. Select Wireless and Networks. Select Wi-Fi settings. Select the ATSU network in the populated list, and then the following username and password will be the same as your ATSU username and password that you use to access the portal, email, and Blackboard. So you'll set anonymous identity to your username. You'll set identity to your username, and you'll set your password as your password. Now we'll work with iPads and iPhones, and they are even easier. Select the Settings app, select Wi-Fi, select the ATSU network, and input your username and password in the corresponding fields. Again, this username and password are the same that you use to access the portal, email, and Blackboard at ATSU. Ooh, we're almost done. It's the fifth question. What are the network password requirements? Passwords are case sensitive and must be at least 8 characters in length. They can't be something you've previously used, and a complex password is required. Your password must include your choice of at least 3 of the following rules: uppercase letters, lowercase letters, digits 0 through 9, or non-alphanumeric characters. Are you still confused? Do you still need help? Check out the ITS webpage for more information. Okay, folks, this is it. This is the 6th and final question. How do I do this? Oh, you know what I'm trying to ask. How do I get this done? Unfortunately, we are not the all-knowing, all-seeing wizards some think we are, but we do want to help you. One thing we can do is to provide you with self-help tools. One you may want to try is lynda.com. Have you tried it yet? If you haven't, you may be surprised at how easy it is. Follow along with me as we go to lynda.com. First, go to the portal and sign in. Then go to Resources, My Tools, and finally click on lynda.com. Since you are logged into the portal, you won't need to log in again. It might take a moment to authenticate. There are so many things you can learn from here. Let's take a look at Microsoft PowerPoint. Just do a search and there you are. Let's take a look at how to create Adobe Forms. As you can see, there are numerous Adobe Form courses available. Give Linda a try. We think you will like it. So how'd you do? Did you guess any of the questions that we brought up today? Feel free to call the Help Desk anytime you have questions. We're here to help. Thanks so much.
I'm still stuck on them not being the all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful wizard people. Like, I really feel like giving up right now. But we're not gonna. We're gonna press on ahead. And as a matter of fact, we got a question while we were at that last break. And so, Michael, what we'd like to know, in fact, what one of our viewers would like to know, is if I want to be on the staff council, what do I do?
Yeah, I think probably one of the first things to do would be to speak with someone, whether I listed or Lee listed, being that your current department rep. We all serve a certain amount of terms, and they're year terms. For instance, my 2-year term is up in January. So talking to that person first is figure out when their term is up, and then to express your interest then. Or to speak to someone in human resources. Again, they serve as our advisors of sorts, so they can also help direct as well. But I think first and foremost, talk to the person currently representing your department, figure out whenever they're going to be rotating off, and then see if you can get your name in the hat that way. I think we're always looking for enthusiastic members that are wanting to represent their department. I think that's a great way to make sure that you're able to do that.
Cool. And it does make me think, so I can tell somebody that I'd like to be on the council, and that's a good way to get my name in the hat, and that'll probably roll around at the regular intervals. In the meantime, how do I keep up with what's going on with the staff council, like at your meetings or progress you're making on initiatives? Is there a way for me to know what you guys are up to?
Our minutes are included on that portal site. In addition, like say our plan for the coming year is to have a pointed communication plan with everyone kind of leading into meetings. Just a reminder, we're going to be meeting. Is there anything that you have going on? And kind of follow up after our quarterly meetings. This is what's going on with staff council, and this is kind of the things that we have on our plate.
Cool. Cool. Okay, well, so if you just jumped in the middle, I've got Lee Bonnell and Michael Estes, and they're going to be with us for a few more minutes. If you have any questions about the University Staff Council, we had a couple right then, so I just wanted to interject those while we had a minute. In the meantime, while you're thinking about it, we're going to go to an iOS tips segment with the man with my favorite name in the universe, Danny Fladhammer. You have to say it like that.
Hello, my name is Danny Flatter, and today we're going to go over an iOS tip of the day, which is how to reset all your settings. Resetting your settings comes in handy whenever you have an application being kind of wonky, or your iPad, iPhone, or iPod Touch just isn't working the way you want it, and it's freezing up, or it's closing out apps randomly. This is a neat trick to do because it will pretty much, or most of the time, fix your issue. And how we're going to do this is very simple. We're going to want to find your settings application, and when we click on settings, we're actually going to select general, which depending on what operating system you have, it should be in the middle. It could also be on the top. Because we're going to select general, and we're going to scroll to the very bottom, and you will see reset. So we're going to go ahead and select reset. And after selecting reset, you'll see multiple options, and what we're going to do is we're going to reset all your settings. And so by clicking that, you will see I will get prompt. This will reset all your settings. No data or media will be deleted. And we're going to go ahead and click reset. You will be prompted again to make sure that's what you want. Just go ahead and hit reset, and your iPad will just restart like a computer. Now, What's nice about the iPad is that it does prompt you, so in case you accidentally hit the erase all settings, it will say this will delete all your media and data and reset all settings. Luckily, it prompts you so you don't accidentally erase all of your data. You'll notice some other resets in here. So like I said, if you accidentally reset your network, you will always get a prompt no matter which one you select. So once again, we're going to close that out. It's under Settings. Select General. We're going to scroll to the very bottom, make sure you select Reset, and reset all your settings. And that's been your iOS tip for today. I hope that's been helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. You can't say, in fact, sometime today I recommend that you just say Vladhammer. Because you have to, because it's the most fun name. Oh, look, it's snowing. Hey, so a couple of things. Number one, you can tell that we're in Missouri because people wouldn't even recognize that if we were in Arizona. And number two, for those of you who are joining us from our Arizona campus, this may be the only snow that you see all year, and we really do pity you for that. All of that stuff about being jealous about your weather, we're not really. We like it in the cold. Just kidding. All right, hey, you know what this means? You can tell by the rambling and the joking that we have arrived at the end of this Lunch and Learn segment. Lee and Michael, thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us and telling us about the Staff Council. I think that that's information that people will definitely appreciate. And remember, if you want to brag about how you spent the time actually learning something over your lunch hour, feel free to tell all of your colleagues and exert peer pressure on them to go to live.atsu.edu, where you can find this and all sorts of other recorded segments from recent events that have been held at ATSU or online. And, you know, just last thing, I think I mentioned at the beginning that I am neither as eloquent or as attractive as Brian Kruziak. And so my name is Joe Vincent. I have thoroughly enjoyed being here today. Thank you to our tech crew and camera people, especially Danny Fladhammer. And for the rest of you, you should know that this is going to be the last Lunch and Learn of 2014. We will keep you up to date via email, so stay on top of that and watch for the announcement of the January Lunch and Learn, which will be coming in a brand new year in 2015. And until then, be well, and we will see you again soon. Thanks.